But for the Bills, you got to start calling people. Call the Commanders about Terry McLaurin. Call the 49ers about Brandon Aiyuk. And look, if you got to overpay, right now you don't really have many options. And again, I don't think that they will have to. But, if I'm John Lynch and the 49ers pick up the phone and it's Brandon Beane and he makes a little bit of a low ball offer, he's like, look, man, you don't have any receivers. So either you're going to have to give me a little bit more or, thanks, but no thanks. So that could be a situation where the Bills have now put themselves into a little bit of a corner because teams around the NFL know, okay, they're going to start Mac Hollins. No, give me more or you're not getting him. So for a team like San Francisco, who might not have been on board with trading Brandon Aiyuk because of the trade market, they can lift their own market because Buffalo really needs the help. And if you're the Bills as well, this is the part where I come back to the draft and it being draft picks being very much overvalued. Because if you're the Bills and the 49ers say, look, give us a second round pick and, whatever else, give us a second round pick and 2 more draft picks for Brandon Aiyuk. Why would you say no to that? Who are you getting right now in the second round and the 5th round that's going to be better than Brandon Aiyuk? Who are you getting in the 1st round right now that's going to be better than Brandon Aiyuk? Nobody. I understand that you're going to have to pay him. Yeah, no kidding, you're going to have to pay him. He's a great player. Great players make great player money. And if you want to finally get over that hump, you're going to have to surround Josh Allen with other great players, okay? You can't just BS your way with, again, it's no disrespect to, guys like Khalil Shakir. He's a fine player. He ain't beating Kansas City. It's no disrespect to guys in the past like Gabe Davis, who put on a great performance against the Chiefs in the infamous 13 seconds game. But after that, very much didn't live up to the hype. And then Stefon Diggs this year, who started off incredibly hot and then fell off. You can't just try to surround a great player with mediocrity and expect him to lift everybody. Because while he can, everybody has a ceiling on how far they can be lifted. So even if the 49ers say, give us 28 for Brandon Aiyuk, you take that. You say, okay, we'll do that. And guess what? Even if it's 28 and a 5th round pick and a 4th next year, okay, you do that. Because who are you taking in the 4th round at that position who's going to be better than Brandon Aiyuk? Nobody. You're not taking anybody in the 5th round this year that's going to be better than Brandon Aiyuk. So you take your medicine. You trade what you got to trade to get somebody great. And then you roll into 2024 with Brandon Aiyuk as your 1 and a draft pick as your 2. Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, Mac Hollins. That's a fine receiving core. Plus you got Kincaid, but you got to make a move. And whether it be for Brandon Aiyuk or a Terry McLaurin, you got to do something. And I think that the Commanders would be a little bit more willing to part with McLaurin because they're not winning a Super Bowl. They're not in contention. And yeah, it makes sense for them to keep McLaurin to try to help develop whomever their pick at quarterback is going to be. But it's not as if they don't have, the ability to bring in somebody else via the draft themselves. They still have Jahan Dotson there, But I understand the logic of saying, the Commanders should hold on to McLaurin to help develop, Drake May or whoever it may be. But regardless, there is a market. And if the Bills were to call the Commanders right now and say, look, we'll give you pick number 28 for Terry McLaurin, I don't think the Commanders would say no. I don't think they should say no. Because again, you're not winning anything with Terry McLaurin. You haven't won anything with Terry McLaurin. Why would you hold on to him? What is keeping Terry McLaurin going to do? You take the 28th pick, you try to build for the future, which, by the way, Josh Harris and the new ownership group have shown that they are very much looking forward. This is a long-term plan. So if I'm Brandon Beane, I'm calling the Commanders and saying, what do you want for Terry McLaurin? Let's figure out a deal. I'm calling the 49ers and I'm saying, we want to try to get Brandon Aiyuk. Let's try to get a deal and go from there. Hell, you could call the Buccaneers. Hey, what do you want for Chris Godwin? Call the Seahawks. Hey, what will it take to get DK Metcalf? But they got to pick up the phone. They have to pick up the phone.